The Habitation and Logistics Outpost, the Power and Propulsion Element of the Gateway Station, the Nancy Grace Roman Space Telescope, Griffin Mission One, Falcon Heavy is the go-to for the big jobs, no doubt about it. But in just 1 month, Falcon Heavy is about to launch the most valuable and critical payload yet. This promises to be a historic and visually stunning event, a launch that will leave its mark. Let's dive in and explore all the details in today's episode. Human ambition doesn't stop at the moon. We're reaching for the farthest corners of our solar system, driven by an insatiable desire to discover life and the potential to sustain it beyond Earth. In this bold endeavor, NASA has launched an incredibly ambitious program to explore Europa, one of Jupiter's most mysterious moons. At the heart of this mission is the Europa Clipper spacecraft, a technological marvel with an impressive total mass of 6 tons, fuel included. This is the largest spacecraft NASA has ever developed for a planetary mission, and it's carrying a staggering price tag of up to $5 billion. That's right, a colossal investment. Europa Clipper has been a top priority for planetary scientists for years, and with a whopping price tag, it's set to become the most expensive payload SpaceX has ever launched. The launch window is set for 21 days between October 10th and October 30th, 2024. If all goes according to plan, Europa Clipper is expected to arrive at its destination by April 2030, marking the beginning of the most exciting phase of exploration. On September 9th, 2024, NASA will make its final decision on whether they are ready to proceed with the launch. Assuming the spacecraft is functioning as expected and no significant obstacles arise, we can expect a positive approval from NASA. Soon after, we'll witness the historic moment when Falcon Heavy launches Europa Clipper into space, kicking off one of the most ambitious planetary exploration missions in history. Interestingly, Falcon Heavy wasn't the original choice as the launch vehicle for this mission. Selecting a rocket for such a high-stakes, costly, and ambitious mission like Europa Clipper has never been a straightforward decision. Behind every choice lies careful consideration of numerous factors: political motives, budget constraints, and most importantly, technical compatibility. Initially, under pressure from Congress, NASA had planned to launch the spacecraft aboard its own SLS rocket. 2 primary factors drove this decision. First, lawmakers, particularly U.S. Senator Richard Shelby, wanted to ensure additional missions for the SLS, securing its continued use and justifying the massive investment poured into the project. Second, SLS's incredible power promised to deliver Clipper to Jupiter in just 4 years, speeding up the timeline for groundbreaking scientific exploration. However, opposing views quickly emerged. While SLS was a feasible option, many within the scientific community strongly advocated for launching Europa Clipper aboard SpaceX's Falcon Heavy. This preference was driven by several compelling factors, with cost-effectiveness being the standout reason. Debate reached a tipping point in 2019 when the White House Office of Management and Budget, OMB, sent a letter to Senate appropriators outlining various concerns regarding actions taken in the appropriations bills. In this letter, the OMB argued that the bill was unnecessarily inflating the cost of the Europa Clipper mission by insisting it be launched aboard the SLS. What truly raised eyebrows was OMB's staggering cost estimate of over $2 billion for a single SLS launch. This figure was significantly higher than the cost of using a commercial rocket like Falcon Heavy. Specifically, the OMB stated that the Europa mission could be launched by a commercial rocket. At an estimated cost of over $2 billion per launch for the SLS once development is complete, the use of a commercial launch vehicle would provide over $1.5 billion in cost savings. Europa Clipper was already a mission burdened by significant costs. Choosing the SLS would only stretch NASA's budget further, potentially siphoning funds from other critical missions, leading to delays and hindering future exploration. Moreover, scientists feared that further delays with SLS would push back the Europa Clipper mission, jeopardizing its carefully planned schedule and threatening its scientific objectives. They stressed the importance of launching during the 2024 window, which aligns with the optimal positioning of Jupiter and Europa, ensuring the mission's success. Boeing simply couldn't deliver another SLS rocket for the Clipper mission within the required time frame. At that point, Boeing was only capable of producing 1 SLS core stage. NASA officials realized that all available core stages were crucial to supporting the human lunar landing efforts in the mid-2020s. Despite intense political pressure to launch Europa Clipper aboard the SLS, lawmakers eventually conceded to the scientific and technical realities. A pivotal moment came in late 2018 when NASA's team determined that Falcon Heavy could carry out the Europa Clipper mission independently, without requiring a gravity assist from Venus. This revelation was monumental, eliminating the complexity of a complicated flyby trajectory and the need for extensive heat shielding for the spacecraft. Not only did this dramatically boost Falcon Heavy's suitability for the mission, but it also simplified the entire flight plan, reducing risk and saving invaluable time. During the evaluation process, United Launch Alliance's Delta IV Heavy was also considered but ultimately not chosen. While Delta IV Heavy is a powerful and reliable rocket, its mission profile would have required a Venus flyby, necessitating additional heat protection for the spacecraft, making it a less attractive option compared to Falcon Heavy. However, the final nail in the coffin for SLS came from an unexpected technical issue: thrust oscillation. This phenomenon emerged as a game-changer, ultimately sealing the fate of SLS and paving the way for Falcon Heavy to take the lead. To understand this better, let's dive into some technical details. SLS uses two solid rocket boosters filled with polybutadiene acrylonitrile and ammonium perchlorate composite propellant. When these solid fuels burn, they create thrust oscillations, vibrations that travel up and down the length of the rocket, much like sound waves in an organ pipe. The critical problem here was that these oscillations exceeded Europa Clipper's tolerance levels. Technical analyses revealed that if launched on SLS, the billion-dollar spacecraft could be shaken apart right at liftoff. This was an unacceptable risk for a mission of such immense value, both financially and scientifically. In order to launch on SLS, Europa Clipper's payload would have required significant adjustments and reinforcements. However, this process was projected to add around $1 billion to the cost and consume valuable time, resources NASA simply didn't have. In the face of tight budgets and the urgent need to meet the launch window, this was an unworkable solution. On the other hand, Falcon Heavy, with its liquid-fueled engines, held a distinct advantage. Liquid engines provide far better thrust control and generally produce less vibration. This is due to the flexibility in modulating the flow of fuel and oxidizer, which greatly reduces unwanted oscillations. This characteristic made Falcon Heavy a much safer and more reliable option. Ultimately, with irrefutable technical evidence on the table, all parties reached a unanimous decision: launch Europa Clipper on Falcon Heavy. They simply couldn't risk such a precious, expensive payload, developed over many years, on a launch vehicle with no clear certainty, especially when the cost of failure was $3 billion. Thank goodness. For once, engineers triumphed over lobbyists. What's more, this was a financially brilliant decision. NASA only had to pay $178 million for Falcon Heavy, a vehicle that has already proven its capability, reliability, and cost efficiency. For this contract, SpaceX sells its Falcon Heavy rocket for less than the price of the two RS-25E attached to the SLS rocket. Well, that's what I call smart spending. With the savings from this launch, NASA could fund nearly a year of development for the SLS, or invest in other critical scientific projects. In this mission, Falcon Heavy will burn all three of its cores to exhaustion, delivering the maximum delta V to the spacecraft. This means there will be no landing legs or grid fins on any of the boosters, as every ounce of energy is dedicated to pushing the spacecraft beyond Earth's orbit. This launch is set to achieve the fastest speed ever recorded at main engine cutoff, MECO, in the history of the Falcon rocket series. Witnessing this incredible display of power and performance will be nothing short of breathtaking. This is definitely one of the most remarkable missions in the annals of space exploration. Falcon Heavy is poised to embark on a monumental, long-term mission. This mission builds on the groundbreaking discoveries of the Galileo spacecraft during its orbit around Jupiter from 1995 to 2003. Galileo provided compelling evidence of a vast ocean beneath Europa's icy crust. This ocean has many similarities to Earth's oceans, even though it's entirely covered by a thick shell of ice. Could the hidden ocean beneath Europa's surface harbor life? The upcoming mission is set to answer that very question. Thanks to previous studies, scientists already know that Europa's ocean is highly saline, and its rocky seafloor is likely rich in chemical nutrients that life could use for food and energy. This creates a potential environment where life might thrive. Even more exciting, there may be geothermal activity similar to Earth's deep-sea vents. Such hotspots could serve as oases for diverse life forms, even in the complete darkness of Europa's depths. To achieve its mission, Europa Clipper will first capture high-resolution images of Europa's surface, allowing scientists to study the Moon's icy shell in exquisite detail. This will provide critical clues about Europa's geological history and the processes happening beneath its surface. Additionally, the spacecraft will carry out an extensive analysis of Europa's composition, helping us understand the chemistry of this intriguing moon and its potential to support life. To achieve these ambitious goals, Europa Clipper will embark on an extraordinary journey. The spacecraft will orbit Jupiter and make nearly 50 flybys of Europa at altitudes ranging from 25 to 2,700 kilometers over the course of its 3.5-year mission. Each of these flybys will offer invaluable opportunities to collect data and conduct detailed observations of this icy moon. As for its journey, NASA announced in 2021 that the mission would take a 5.5-year trajectory to the Jupiter system. Along the way, the spacecraft will use gravity assist maneuvers, including a flyby of Mars in February 2025 and another of Earth in December 2026. All right, that's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth looks at the latest advancements in space technology. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.